Peace. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Street Therapy. As you know, this is therapy for us. This is something that we doing for us, making sure that we get the sessions that we need. Um, I really appreciate y'all tuning in, man. You know I become very vulnerable on this channel. You know I'm trying to reach my brothers and sisters, you know, who are going through the struggle, man, and you know, dealing with mild depression, anxiety, you know, mood swings, stress, drama, you know, things, you know, loss of life, you know, and at times, you know, it's hard for us to really be bold enough to go seek the help that we do need. And being that most of all our friends are going through some type of struggle with us because we're all in the hood, some way or fashion. So, you know, it's very important that we pull together sometimes, man, and we just, like, yo, I'm going through it mentally or emotionally, just to make sure we have somebody to talk to, make sure, we keep our head on straight, things in that nature. It will help us a lot, man. So that's what we do here on Street Hop Therapy. Now, we are raw and authentic, and we are raw and authentic, So we're not with the glitz and glamour. We're not trying to, get 1,000 likes, and we just really trying to drop jewels and give people therapy, man. I was a residential counselor. Been in prison, in and out. Been dealing with it since I was 12. Caught my first charge when I was 12. So I have experience in diverse communication and counseling. Um, street therapy is for people who dealt with the streets, live in the streets, been affected by the streets. People with their degrees and things of that nature, they don't really come to the hood and give us our therapy. And some of us are just too prideful, to go seek the help that we need. So street therapy, you can kind of get some talking, understand somebody relates to you, and then you can get some type of therapy without nobody really knowing, Don't nobody know you watch the channel. You ain't even gotta like it or do nothing. It's not about that here. I can tell by the views that people are watching. That's all I really care about, so to speak, As far as them liking it and commenting, I know sometimes that's kind of embarrassing that you watch the show, especially for my thug stuff if you know me. But experience, man, experience allows me to open up. Experience allows me to, well, I should say confidence in myself and knowing who I am allows me to open up about some of the points in my life that are not too ecstatic. I'm too ecstatic about, But it's part of my life, man, I'm human. I'm gonna have flaws, and we all are. But mild depression is something that we all deal with, man. Like, how many of us lost so many close friends to us, and it's one at the one at the, back to back, back to back, something always. So when you lose people that you really care about back to back like that, and they start dropping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it has an effect on you, man. And some of us brothers, we out here doing some of these wild crimes because of how hurt we are. It's not really because we're so mad. It's just because we're hurt. We allowed that to turn into anger. So let's go on with the show today, man. Today I want to talk about some of the psychological attacks on you mentally and emotionally growing up in the hood, being in prison, and coming home from prison. Some of the psychological attacks. Let's talk with negative images first. Let's talk about when you come home or you grow up in the hood, I should say. When you grow up in the hood, let's start there. You are around dirty lots, drug addicts, prostitution, murder, shootouts, danger, danger, danger. Every day, all day, everywhere you go, you have to be on point. You can't get caught slipping. When you grow up in the hood, it doesn't matter if you have a normal job or not, you can get caught up in the crossfire. So even normal citizens who don't mess with the streets have some type of automatic stress when they walk out the door. That's not living. Hence why I moved out the hood. It's not. We shouldn't have. It shouldn't be no place in America and in the world that's like that, to where you have to have a constant stress of, will I get shot by accident today? Now, for those who don't have to live in that, Alhamdulillah, all praise due to God. You know, you worked hard or whatever the case may be, but there are so many people who still do. And I'm reaching out for those who still do, even though I don't have to. So obviously I care, right? So the psychological damage of negative images and that constant stress, it creates a depressed-like state mentally and emotionally, because if you notice, everybody's in the hood is not walking around with smiles. Yeah, we have a block party, you'll see people chilling, a birthday, whatever, but I'm talking about on a regular, how's everybody looking? Like they with the shit. That's not normal. These are conditions that have been placed upon us for us to live this way. And once we figure out we're not supposed to live that way, we can change our mentalities, we'll change our personalities, which will change our household, which will change the community that we live in. So it all ties in. It's very important that you start with square one. You. Getting you right. If you get right and you get right and then they get right and then I get right, then we'll all be right. That way, if anybody even think about slipping, somebody else is there to catch them. You never fall. When you see these negative images, brother, they want you to believe that that's all it's about. When I got my passport and I flew to Dominican Republic, shout out to them. It was breathtaking. Actually, the result was called breathless. It was breathtaking. And I had to see other things, and my parents took me to see other places of New Jersey and other places of the United States. And in seeing things, I knew I didn't want to be trapped around. Like, you know, it wasn't like I didn't love my peoples around it. It just was like, oh, I seen that I can have a big house and nice land and do certain things and be spacious. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got to really be on alert all the goddamn time. Even though you alert no matter where you at, but you know, it's not a constant fear like it's less likely I get caught up in some shit out here. And it relieves stress, and that helps you think clearer. You start to enjoy life. Hence, if you ever been out the country, no matter what you're going through in the United States, you enjoy life. You feel like a whole burden. You like, for these couple of days, I'm good, right? Well, it's sad that you have to live like that for a couple of days, but the rest of the 364 days, 362 days, you know what the fuck I mean, that you gotta live fucked up. You gotta live stressed out. That gotta bother you. Does it bother you? It bothers you, right? Okay. We always know the problem. It's the solution. If you're not financially able to change your environment and you have a phone that you can do internet on, then start Googling up other countries and just look at the pictures and the videos of these other countries to get your mind set on this world is real big. I got a lot to explore. I don't have to be stuck here. I don't have to be stuck here. These negative images they push on us so goddamn badly is because they want us to feel like we're stuck there. They really want us to feel like if they don't help us, we can't get to Africa. If they can't help us, we can't get to Jamaica. You know, like they can't help us, we can't succeed. And that's not the truth. And if you don't notice, and even if you notice sometimes, there's still the stress of how can I do it? I gotta go to work. I gotta do this. I gotta do it. I can't start my own business. I'm gonna pay my bills. I ain't gonna have too much. And people gonna talk. These are all stress problems that cause depression. Psychological attacks on the mental. Being in prison. They make you strip in front of a whole bunch of men. Like, that is so degrading, man. And it's really unnecessary. You know? And it's not like one time. It's like one time, two times. You know? You never have no privacy when it comes to using the bathroom. I was incarcerated in Ocilla, Georgia. Right? I think it's Ocilla, Georgia. Oh, my Lord. Man. You know, I just think about the things I experienced and the psychological damage it could have had on me had I not found the law and had I not gained knowledge of self. Because in finding the law, I actually gained knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is just not, my name, this is my parents, this is where I come from, my lineage. No. Knowledge of self is like knowing the essence of me, knowing why my melanin is so important, why me having melanin in me, period, is just automatically makes me astonishing. So when you have these attacks on you, like, you know, being in prison, go stripping and, you know, the food you gotta eat, how you gotta eat. You do if you're from North New Jersey and you was really getting locked up around the time when shit was real, you remember like the county jail across the street from the college had the motherfucking mice running on the shit, like you had to put your shit up, like mice everywhere jumping out the toilet. That shit was retarded, man. Living conditions, man. But that's psychologically fucking. You don't, you know, after experiencing that and having to survive that, if you're not strong enough, you won't really be bothered with filth. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Like you'll be a dirty nigga. Like you just be a part of, you know, the nigga word, but I don't mean that in a derogatory way. You know what I mean? I'm talking street hop, street therapy. Anyway, so, you know, you'll be a dirty ass dude, like, you know what I mean? Because you'll be so subject to just being filled. You ever see dudes who come home and they be so stressed out in prison and they let all that shit get to them, and then they come home, they don't be wanting to wash their ass, they be, you know what I mean? And it's just psychologically fucked up, and everybody's not strong. They shouldn't even be placed in a situation to where they could even be subjected to that, honestly. So they're really not at fault. Okay? Because, yeah, the situations are humane in prison. For the most part. When you are in prison, it's not like for listen, man, for me, and this is not making me no tough guy, just for me, it's more or less like I didn't have no issues in prison because who I was, how I moved, how I thought. It didn't mean that it wasn't nobody that couldn't beat me up or whatever. No, I just, how I moved, I didn't have no issues. You know. Anyway, if the being locked up with people you don't know, having to shower with people you don't know, always being watched, metal detectors everywhere you go, people with guns standing around watching, making sure if you even flinch while they ready to shoot you. COs just coming in, always fucking with you, can do anything. Like, come on, man. People faggot ass, not, you know, homosexual, but, you know, not knocking them, not knocking homosexual. I'm just saying, you know, guards with fucking attitudes and who are real self-centered and fucking inconsiderate and just soft as hell, like straight cowards. They searching your peoples, getting free thrills, hollering at them and shit. Turn them around just because they don't like you. And then people done drove 3 hours, 4 hours, renting hotel rooms and shit just to be told no because the guard acting funny. Yo, man, I'm telling you, man, that psychological shit will have you mad as hell all the time, and you gotta realize when you come home, or even while you in there, that you gotta maintain control of yourself at all times. That's how you win. That's how you combat everything. Because trust me, if nobody who's been in prison is gonna say they dead-headed mentally and psychologically war free. We're all at war in there, psychologically, mentally, and emotionally. Okay? These are tactics they use to break you, to make you. Why do you think some brothers and sisters come home and they're right back in the swing of things? Because if you don't value your life, if you don't know who you really are, if you Like you remember what the fuck you been through. There's been brothers been in a hole in solitary confinement for years. I did 6 months. I did a half a year in solitary confinement. Not like sentence like, oh, I gotta do 6 months so I can prep my mind for it. It just was like, I don't know when the fuck I'm getting out of there for real. I know, you get in trouble, usually take 4 or 5 months to transfer. So I was, I had a little range, but I didn't get a date. I didn't, nobody never told me. It just was, when I got out, it was 6 months. I said, oh, I want to do 6 months in the hole. 6 months psychological. Now think about that. 6 months in the hole. How do you psychologically, mentally, and emotionally stay sane in there? How do you stay sane? I stayed sane by reading. That's how I stayed sane. I stayed reading and working out and masturbating. That was the only way I was figuring out how to stay sane in the 12 by 12, down at 24 hours a day for 6 months. You get that 1 hour rec. Sometimes I go out, you know what I mean? But the rec is a cage. You walk from your cell a few steps down the hallway, because it's never really like a long distance. It's never like a long walk to the rec yard when you're in the hole. It's not like you walking through this yard, they got to drive a bus and somewhere else. No, it's a few steps, because it's all it is just picture the ceiling knocked off. And the top of the ceiling is a cage. It's the top of the cage, and you're in a cage. So they walk you out a door straight into a cage. You turn around and take the handcuffs off on you, and you got like I don't know how many square feet. It ain't long. It ain't big. It's like a rat. It's like you're doing that. I used to grab the bars and at the top with my fingertips and do little pull-ups like that when I went outside in the cage. But psychologically now, think about that. I ain't mean to lose you, but psychologically, that fucks you up, man. So you have to. You gotta find something that is like you dig inside yourself. You just won't let them win. That's my main thing. Was I am not gonna let y'all break me. Truth be told, because I don't know. I know it was only by the grace of Allah, the mercy of Allah. I know that much, because I don't know where it came from. My courage to survive, how I moved. It wasn't a game plan. Nobody taught me. I just was me. I just, like fuck it. If something happened, you gotta handle that shit. Win, lose, or draw. I knew that much. You know what I'm saying? But you can't dictate everything that's gonna pop off when you open behind them gates. I've been in maximum security prison. My man, wow, he just informed me that when I was locked up with Birdman, brother, all of them in McQuarrie, Pine Knot, Kentucky. Yeah. Shout out to my brothers that's still there, man. Y'all peoples get a whiff for this, man. Tell them to reach out to me. You know what it is. Yeah, so that psychological damage when you come home now, some brothers are not strong enough, and sisters, they're not strong enough to combat that shit. Like they institutionalized. No, motherfuckers is damaged and hurt, man. That shit's a lot, man. You be locked up all them years, nobody come see you, and you see everybody else going to their visits, or people getting mail and you ain't getting mail, or people getting money sent in, you ain't getting money sent in, or people sending you money but they doing crooked shit to you. It's a lot of shit that goes on with you, man. You lose your family members, you can't go to the funeral, you getting always half stories of shit. It could break you, nigga. Give a fuck how tough you is. The shit can break you. And that's why I started the show, because I know we be dealing with shit differently than people who ain't never been locked up, or people who ain't never been in the hood, right? Just because we're not excluding you people who don't have quote unquote felonies, because y'all just as fucked up as us, if not worse. Like, at least we got a somewhat of an excuse. Like, damn, I've been to prison and I'm fucked up like this. But why the fuck you ain't never been to prison? And you tweaking out here like this. You see them young boys on Demon Time, ain't never go to prison, because when they all go to prison, shit. I see they all on the news. Mild depression is serious, and you got to be careful about that. And you got to know the psychological attacks that's placed upon you to make you depressed, bro. For real, they promote people with a whole bunch of money on TV, man, and all this other shit. And there's a lot of more people broke than a lot of people with money. Truth be told. Um, so, you know, knowing yourself will help you solve a lot of your issues. Because when you from the streets, man, we don't have time to go to therapy. We don't got time to be telling people we demand, you know what I mean? We think we don't, I should say. And we constantly going on our life, but our relationships are fucked up. Our everything is just fucked up. You know what I mean? It's chaotic. It's like you might have a bunch of people around you, but you know they phony as hell because they just want you for this. Or you might not have nobody around you because you always flipping the fuck out or some shit. You never know. You know what I'm saying? With my depression, you be different, man. Your mood swings be different. And you think it's just you. It's all of us. Then they all your homies. Especially if you on demon time. You know, I'm not knocking the fad and trend of demon time. I'm knocking it. Yeah, I am knocking it, but not like in the way like I don't like get money positively somewhere. I don't know. When you on demon time, I'm not on demon time. So for those who on demon time, this is no like I might, depending on how cool you are and you explain it to me what demon time means to you, then I might be like, oh, okay. So forgive me for my lack of knowledge of it. But the only knowledge that I have of it is what I'm gonna speak upon. Okay. So like I said, forgive me. I'm on the internet. You gotta do shit like that sometimes. Because people like to twist your words. So when you on demon time, that's like you don't care about nothing, but you got kids. You got families and mamas and daddies and aunties and uncles. So it's like, how you gonna be on demon time and then have family? So I assume when you on demon time, you don't care about too much of nothing. Why are you even rapping? Because all you about is murder, 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 and money and murder. You know, you don't respect life. You have the option to kill anybody who crosses you, you know, without no remorse. So while you hugging them people and going to funerals and shit, you have a heart. Like, I don't know, it's a conflicting story to me. I think it's just mild depression and severe depression in that case, actually. Um, if you look it up and if you look it up, you'll diagnose yourself with dealing with mild depression or severe depression. When you want to kill people and talk about it, I'm from the streets. I have done a lot of things. I am not here to prove that to nobody because I have grown. So why recognize me for my growth? Wicked motherfuckers that try to bring you to your lowest state, but that's what everybody has opposition. You don't let that stress you out. But anyway, when you on this demon time and you look at the symptoms of mild depression, you will see that you fall under that category. A lot of you do. You normal citizens too. And I don't come up here to be like, just to hear you, for you to watch me talk. I seriously been in prison a long time. I dealt with a lot of people. And I know that a lot of people need to hear this. For real, for real. A lot of murders would not have happened if people had got some help. For real, for real. You would not have had to visit your sons and your nephews at the damn grave had they got some help for their mild depression. It comes in, I'm telling you, it comes, you thinking, well, my son, first of all, you dealing with mild depression. So your mood swings is throwing him off and he got mood swings up, but nobody's getting no real help. Everybody just, you know, kind of like, oh, my son doing bad, or my mom or my daddy ain't doing this, you know. But nobody's really saying, like, I'm hurt over something that happened in my house. I'm hurt from shit that happened in my childhood. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's really getting deep into the subject. So everybody's walking around faking the funk, but everybody's kind of depressed. You know, they dealing with it. I didn't know I had it until, like I said, I was informed. And then I was like, oh, shit. And then I've been doing better. You can't get me mad. I can only get me mad. Until you come to the level of understanding that I come to, that statement will make no sense to you. You know? So, anyway, when you deal with these psychological attacks on your brain from society and such and such and such and such, you have to understand, like, knowing who you are is always going to be the determining factor. Okay? You focus on the positive, you leave the love. No, you focus on the love, like Shaw Grafton said. But I was about to say, you focus on the positive, and you leave the negative where it's at. You know, you have to constantly remind yourself that it don't take much for me to spaz out. You have to remind yourself, I'm dealing with mild depression. So when I go through a mood swing, I have to be bold enough to be like, hold up, I'm going through a mood swing. I don't need to tweak out. I don't need to feed into it. I just need to recognize what's going on with me and settle down and then get back on track. If you try to brush it off, it comes back stronger because you can't ignore it. This is going to affect everything that you do in life. They know this. That's why you go through, they make sure our hoods are looking the way they are. Because these images, if you walk outside and all you see is this and dirt and empty lots and this and trash and cesspools and crack and rats, roaches and abandoned buildings, like where the fuck is the hope at? You know, where the fuck is the hope at for me in my neighborhood? You know, and that affects you because when you in a nice neighborhood, you think different. I've been in nice neighborhoods. I live in a nice neighborhood. I think different. When I'm home, I think different. For real, when I'm in the hood, I think differently. I move differently. When I'm in my nice neighborhood, I think differently. I move, I wake up differently. I sleep differently. I go to bed differently. In the hood, I go to bed thinking, making sure everything locked, checking out, looking down the street, making sure ain't no cars. You know, I do a lot in the hood, honestly, because you never know. And when you're in a nice neighborhood, all I do is put my alarm on, you know, make sure you can, when you in certain areas, carrying guns is easy. Everybody got them. So you ain't worried about that. So you go to sleep a little bit better. You do. Because you like, you know, ain't nobody fucking with nobody out here. Everybody strapped up on this whole block and, you know, ain't nobody, if you come over self-defense a motherfucker, you on property, ooh, 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 ooh. So you don't worry, you sleep differently. You know what I mean? You go to sleep, you know, sometimes you leave your window open just to have the night air come in. When you in a good neighborhood. See that psychological shit? Now, if I'm in the hood, you know what I mean? So you got to combat that. You got to know what it is. So I said, if you can't get out right now, what do? It sound all good, but I can't get out. Joker, get on your damn phone and start Googling up other places and just look at the videos, man. Look at something different. It will help. It will help because it will make you just strive more to get there. You say this place is alive. This is really a tangible thing to touch. I can get it. Like I gotta get up out of here. But if you don't look at things like that and all you see is what's around you, you start thinking that's what the whole world is about. And you fooled. Like I said, I've been out the country, you know, more than once. So it's like I realized like shit. When that money get right, hell yeah, I can see me putting some motherfucking buying some property over there, overseas somewhere, man. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Who the fuck said I got to live in my hood for the rest of my life? It's like that's the only place on earth. You know, coming home from prison, the psychological damage of losing all your friends that come home to nobody, your family members come home to nobody, or everybody turned their back on you so you can't home to nobody. And the government, you're a convicted felon, coming home to nobody. You know, that psychological damage, oh, that attack, I should say, that attack is so strong that you have to actually dig within yourself and say, fuck the world and just, I don't care what nobody says. If I'm gonna wear this one outfit for 3 weeks, then every day I'm gonna wash it and dry it. And if I got a place to iron, I'm gonna iron it and keep it fresh and clean so that way when I go for interviews, you know what I'm saying, at least I'm looking like I tried. You know what I mean? Maybe go to Salvation Army. See, I'm thinking, boo, Because the first easiest thing to do is like, yo, I'm just gonna call out, yo, what's up, man? Yo, I'm back on the block. Give me that brick where we setting up shop at. Who I gotta get his pack to, which runner I'm gonna get, or which delivery I have to make. You know what I mean? I need some money, man. Fuck that shit. I ain't going back to no job. I ain't doing that shit for I'm grinding it out. Okay? And sometimes that's better option. I'm sorry. I said that. But it's the truth. Sometimes it's better to be hustling, man, than to let people play you for a little bit of change, man, for your hours of your life. Don't advise you to do it without you knowing like you can go back to jail. I advise you let that shit be the very last option. That's all I'm saying. That's the like let that be the last option. Because you can be the one to show your homies a way out. And that's how you show love. When you like for me, like for my brothers that's hustling and doing what they do, I feel like I show love to them by like finding another way out so I can pull them out the game, show them a different way. Because I'm damn sure not gonna tell them, yo, stop making all that goddamn money, buying them nice ass cars. You know what I'm saying? Taking them big ass trips, buying your kids fly shit to come and do what I'm doing when this shit ain't really lucrative like that right now. I'm not gonna tell my homies that. Because shit, it don't work for me. And everything fall, but I'm just say it just fall off or everything. I ain't got no other nothing. Now the boot, where you think I'm going? Right? Where you think I'm gonna go? Oh, you think I'm gonna be a bum in the goddamn shelter or something like that? You think that's what I'm gonna do? And shit the fan for me? Mm-mm. I know I'm coming back to these streets to get some money to get the fuck back off them. Sorry to say. So I strive to make sure I never have to do that. You feel what I'm saying? Like when you recognize yourself and you know what you're dealing with, mild depression, you know your triggers, you know your addictions, you know what to do, and it's up to you to do it. It ain't no really I can't do the shit for you, bro. You know, or sister. You have to do it yourself. Take some responsibility. You gotta fight this battle. There's a battle. There's a war. It's a psychological war. The attacks. If something's attacking you, you at war. You're in a fight or some type of opposition, right? I'm like, damn, I don't know what other words to use. It's like shit. It's popping off. You every day you walk outside. You a black person. You a person with melanin in your skin. You under attack. Now, come on. I'm not the first. Y'all know it's the truth. Anyway, so you got to be psychologically prepared for war too. You got to watch what you watching and watch what you engaging too much. You know, for real. Watch the people you listening to. You got to, because you are under attack. They don't want you to think that there's a beautiful place in the world that will accept you. That people look at your skin as they know the truth about your skin, and they'll tell you about the history of your skin. They're like, when you go overseas, they quick to tell you about you. Because they just had this conception that everybody over here is just lost. Like you don't, because how we living and what we let America do, let's just be real. People overseas, and they like, oh yeah, they don't know them, you know, they're them descendants of the slaves, of the kings and queens. There's royalty in them people over there, all of them. It's royalty upon royalty walking through the streets of Charlotte, walking through the streets of New Jersey, walking through the streets of Newark, walking through the streets of New York, Boston, LA, Compton, all up and down Compton. There's royalty walking up and down them streets. We just don't know it. And we're not being ourselves. We're not getting what we know we deserve. And it's making us depressed, making us mad, making us angry, making us not able to be productive. And when you at war, you gotta understand people are they're attacking you. So why you mad? Like, yeah, don't leave me alone. I ain't fucking with nobody. Yeah, I wish that was the case. That's not the case, but it ain't been the case for none of your ancestors either. So fight. Rosa Parks was not thinking about none of this accolades. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have street snacks. She wasn't thinking about none of that. She got tired. She fought back in her own way. Everybody has their own way they can fight back. That's the point. I want to make to y'all. Like, just because you dealing with mild depression and you having mood swings and you done fucked up some relationships, whatever the case may be, with females and all that, your homies, whatever, you gotta change that. You gotta change what's inside of you and then make it happen. Like, women's, like, if you can't admit that you had mild depression, a lot of your behavior will seem normal, but people will always tell you how you're abnormal in a fun type of way, because they they love you and they scared of you, or they don't want you to flip. So they'll tell you like, girl, you shot the fuck out, or damn homie, you be bugging. They'll tell you that shit. That's not really a good thing. Okay, that's them telling you like, yo, you something wrong with you. And you should just automatically look at mild depression and say, this is why I have mood swings. This is why I make hasty decisions. This is why I'm, grumpy and I don't really care. I'm on demon time. And you combat this stuff by knowing who you are. You combat this stuff when you're a righteous person, but you're still dealing with mild depression. You combat it by knowing about yourself. You read up on it. You study it. You just, damn. You Google everything else. You Google it and look at ways to combat it. Positivity, man. Love overpowers hate. Love gives energy. Hate takes energy. It takes energy to hate somebody. Love, natural, just flows, enhances. When you hate on somebody, you want to take something from it. Their dignity, their street credibility. People, I'm talking about people people wanted to assassinate my character to stop people from liking me, as if I gave a fuck if people like me. But this is what I'm saying. You gotta have knowledge of self to combat the psychological and all the emotional and mental attacks on you, man. Every day you walk out your door. It's not a game. I'm just talking about it because I don't want you to think that you crazy. You good, bro. We all dealing with it, but you're not, you know what I mean? You gotta deal with this shit. You can't be walking around like, yo, like you tell a crackhead. I don't want you, even though you've been sober for 4 or 5 years, I still don't want you hanging out in the crack house. For what? Why even put yourself at risk? It's the same thing with us. You addicted to fast money, yo, you got to try something different so you don't even be around that shit. Trust me, I'm be tempted till this day to really prove a point. But it'd be like, you got to try this. If I stay doing this and I stay focused on this and I set my mind on this, my belief system is on this, then this temptation lessens and I can stay focused on what I'm doing. But I recognize the temptations there. Some of you fall into it. Some of us don't. It don't make me better than you. It don't make you better than me. It don't. Because at any given time, I could be doing right back what you're doing. And at any given time, you can switch it up and do what I'm doing. And excel in me. Excel over here too. More than me. So ain't never no judgment being passed. It's just reality talk. Street therapy. Real nigga shit. Take your time when you home. Know that we at war. And I don't want to, I do this because I like doing this. For real, for real. And I know some of y'all need to hear it. For real, for real. You are not shooting your ops just because you happy. It don't make you happy shooting your ops. It gives you something to brag about in front of your peoples. It's a way to get some quick cash, or a little bit of lump sum or some cash real quick. Some rep in your squad and your gang. But it never makes you happy. I know this for a fact. No matter how much you smile, no matter how much revenge you think you got, it never makes you happy. I know. They don't. You can fool them. You can talk to them. You can look that way in front of them. But it's different when you look in front of somebody who's been what you've been through, done what you've done, and seen what you've seen, and did it better than you, seen it before you, and done it before you, and survived it. You ain't survived it yet because you're still in it. You only survive it when you're not in it no more. If you still in it, that means you still in it. You don't know if you're going to survive it or not. That's still up for grabs. I know I survived it because I'm not in it, so it's not up for grabs. I can't control too much of how the weather's going to be, how fast the earth's going to turn, but I can control what I'm going to do with my life, man. And you can too. I mean, you know, you deal with mild depression, you know not to make, you learn to just stop. I swear to God, my breathing might get heavy, especially if I'm in clubs. Like if I go to a club and it's packed, I don't stay long anyway. But when I'm in there, like being around a bunch of people, it fucks with my anxiety. Like if you ever notice it gets crowded in certain places and you start getting anxious, you start being like, I want to go cranky. Like you start what yeah, yeah. Look up anxiety. Some people get it severe to where they gotta take medication. Seriously. So you gotta watch it. You know, we young, we in our ages, you know what I'm saying? But when you get like 75, if you live to see that long, you know, hey man, it happens to the best of them, bro. Watch the mild depression in your children, most importantly. Because if you know you can't get to your son and he's acting weird or your daughter's acting weird, like you gotta talk to him, man. And you know that you got a couple of boyfriends who molested your daughter, or you got, you know what I'm saying? Like you know what type of household you brought your child up in. Cut the bullshit. There ain't no wonder they fight. You don't think they depressed? The shit they had to go through from this house to this house. I live with grandma. Then I live with this one. Then I live with this one. You don't think that shit fucks with them? You inconsiderate motherfucker, you. You want to blame them for having behavioral problems, motherfucker, you? You want to go to their school, act like you don't know what they do. I don't know what's going on with them, motherfucker, you. No, your child's depressed and you did that shit. So deal with them. Don't leave them around like they normal. You gotta hug them. You gotta talk to them. You gotta take them out. Let them see some other shit in the neighborhood. I don't give a fuck if you gotta walk. Walk up to the nicest neighborhood close to your fucking hood and just let them see it. Like, man, this is in the walking distance, son. We can get here. Or this in the walking distance, daughter. We can get here. What we gotta do to get here? What we gotta do here to get here, mommy or daddy? And then the game plan starts and they feel included. Then they take the steps. Now you can start holding them accountable. Like, hey, you fucking up in school. You know what we trying to get to. You the goddamn key. You got to be the one to go get the college degree and all that other good shit, man. I can't learn all that shit no more. You got to do that shit, son. Or you got to do that shit, daughter. You make them responsible for the game plan. You teach them responsibility. It's not all about you. What the fuck you doing is going to benefit all of us, and we depending on you. It's like you depend on me to go ahead and slave for these fucking people for this little bit of money to keep these lights on so you can do your homework, so you can get the fucking college and get the great job, okay? So, you know, this shit pans out. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I'm just thugged out. I'm rough around the edges. I'm not going to be politically correct. And I'm going to smoke me a mile of blunt if I want to while I'm talking to you. But listen to the message. When you grow up in the hood, people, that shit fucks with you. And when you deal with people from the hood who grew up in the hood, stop acting like they don't have no reason to be the way they are. Stop fucking acting like that. That shit is insulting. I got to grow up in hell, and you want me to come out here when I get around you and be an angel? Fuck out of here. My mentality is I'm living hell, nigga. My shit is rough. I want two French fries, 2 orders of fries. I ain't got time to be polite. You know what the fuck I'm facing every day? So stop acting like that. Especially when you deal with these kids. You know, you don't have to be as lenient with adults, but with children, you gotta be real lenient. Like when you get them in school and you a school teacher and you have them, and I talk to school teachers who love kids. The kids is so bad because the parents, they say like, the parents ain't helping. So the teacher can't do but so much because the parent ain't helping. That's why I tell y'all, make sure you help with the teachers and they teaching your fucking kid for 8 hours. You best to be involved. So when your kids are acting all depressed, know that you might have put them in that state. Let's say you provided for your kids, let's say you had shit set up like Russell Simmons got for his kids, right? But you start noticing they being distant. You noticing they having mood swings. Just because you providing everything for them don't mean your child won't face mild depression or anxiety or start having suicidal thoughts. So, you know, at all times you be attentive to your children, and at all times you recognize the situation that you placed them in, how you brought them up. You always take accountability for yourself first. You know what I mean? Because if the baby was born, damn, who put them in the situation? I don't care if my baby mothers did whatever and they kept them from me. It's still, I had that baby with that woman, which put my baby in that woman's stomach. So whatever happens when that woman, even if that woman keep that baby from me, I'm still responsible some type of way. You hold yourself accountable, because that's what you want your kids to do, right? To hold themselves accountable. So, you know, you deal with a lot of psychological attacks, and you have to, excuse me if I got off the topic, you deal with a lot of psychological attacks, and you have to be aware of this. You have to be aware that this is causing us mild depression. They showing us visions and images and making us want. You're always wanting. And we looking like, oh, we don't have that. Because they say, if you don't have this is the latest iPhone. If you don't have this one, your phone is nothing. And you're like, I don't have that phone. So you hide your phone when people pull out their phone. You lying about what type of phone you got. You lying about how much money you got. Just because, like, come on. Listen, if you know that, if you have a friend, and I wouldn't even consider him a friend if you haven't told them this, because what type of friend is gonna let their friend walk around like this? But if you got a friend that's always showboating and they ain't really got it, and you don't stop them from, like, you don't attempt to stop them from doing that seriously, like, I ain't fucking with you if you keep doing this shit type shit, that friend is depressed because they don't have what they really want. Even though they smiling and they in front of people, when they alone, they depressed. Like, them motherfuckers would kill themselves if they don't get the new pair of Jordans. Or if they lights get cut off and people find out that they lights got cut off or they car get repossessed or some shit like that. Like, them motherfuckers are damn, they sink into a hole. They will not be the same confident motherfucker they was a day ago. Mild depression comes in many forms, man. I'm not gonna talk your head off. I think that was all for the day. You know, tune in tomorrow, next time I drop the video. Thank y'all for liking and subscribing. I know it's a little bit of people who subscribe and we get a lot of views, but that's okay. You know, some people are private and I'm cool with that. Like I said, this ain't for the subscribers, this ain't for the likes and all. This is really for, like, to help people do what they gotta do and talk about some deep issues in our hood, in our communities that we need to talk about, because we suffer a lot. And nobody comes to fucking help us. Nobody comes out. And trust me, it's a lot of other brothers who are braver, who have way more grimier stories or grimier experiences. You know what I mean? That if they was to share their story, you would get enlightened. You know, it might deter a lot of people from fucking with the streets. More than my stories will. You know? And I'm open to that. Like, street therapy is mine, but I don't care if somebody take it. I don't care if you do a show like it. I don't care if you feed off the idea. I don't give a fuck. Help the people. Have a sincere heart. I ain't tripping. If you in it for the money, may Allah punish you. You know? And we might have an issue. But sincerity, helping people, man, come on. That's what it's about. So here we are on Street Therapy. Thank y'all for tuning in once again. And, you know, till next time, man. Stay up. Keep your mind sharp. Keep winning. Get at them.